The students are home for the holidays, but the Carrier Dome is always a huge home court advantage for Syracuse, and the Orange need it tonight. For the 95th time in their school history, it's Syracuse and Pitt set to clash on the court. SU 11-3 and the number 10 Panthers 12-2. These dominant Big East programs ready for their first conference game of the season, just moments away. Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the Dome. I'm Dave O'Brien alongside Coach Rick Majerus. Stacey Dales joining us in just a moment. Great to have conference play upon us at last, Coach. And both of these teams go about the process of defending the basket in very different ways.
In the Loud House, Syracuse plays their zone. They want to keep the ball in the middle. They'll risk perimeter shooting, giving that up. Pitt is a clutch and grab. They contest every cut. They bang every curl. They're a hold-you team. They clutch and hold. They're man-to-man tenaciously.
Let's get right to Star Watch down for Pitt. The man in the middle is the 7-footer Aaron Gray. The top scorer in the Big East is SU's Demetrius Nichols.
Gray is a leading rebounder in the Big East, but his unselfishness, his passing prowess are what sticks out. Nichols can shoot the three ball at 50%. He's got the all-the-way drive game. He can post you up, and he's an unbelievable 90% free-throw shooter. Very few guys got the total shooting package.
To the starting lineups now for this Big East opener inside the Dome. And for Pitt, the front court is Aaron Gray, Mike Cook, and Levon Kendall. A lot to handle in the backcourt. It's Graves and Fields. Levance Fields runs the point. For Syracuse now, Terrence Roberts returns after missing 2 games to a knee injury. He's joined by Nichols and the 6'11 Mookie Watkins. The backcourt is Andy Routens, and the point guard is Josh Wright. We bring in Stacey Dales. And Stacey, with Jerry McNamara graduated, SU has been shuffling that lineup in search of a leader. Has Jim Boeheim finally found one?
Well, I think so, Dave. It's amazing that Demetrius Nichols has become a vocal leader. He's always been a leader by example, but it's amazing because growing up, he has suffered from a genetic speech impediment. Now, just last year, he went to a speech clinic here on campus. He worked with a therapist, and as a result, guys, his confidence is absolutely flourishing. One of the reasons he's performing so well on the court, 26-point average over the past 6 games. They're really going to need him to score, guys, but they need him to be vocal against this number 10 ranked Pitt team.
What I like best, Stacey, is he lets his game do his talking for him. That's all the speech he needs to know, because I'll tell you something, this guy can rip that twine.
And we are underway in the Big East Conference opener. Pitt wins the opening tip in the blue. Syracuse in the home whites. Nice big crowd, over 20,000 inside the Carrier Dome. Given the fact the students away, they're drawing very well, but it's 50 degrees outside. More likely to be 15 below this time of the year.
And were you in class in those days? The 50-degree days, I know you were there.
That's right.
Not the 50.
Many times. Up top, it's Kendall starting to make his move with 5 on the shot clock. Getting inside close to the basket. Got an excellent look. Could not drain it. SU trying to run. Nichols, who has been hot as a firecracker, averaging 26 a game over his last 5 contests. Inside the contact as he gets fouled. Give you a look at Jim Boeheim now, the Hall of Famer, in his 31st season at his alma mater. And tonight looking for his 738th career win at SU. Won the 2003 National Championship and trying to win his 9th Big East title.
Nichols slid off that foul. He did a sensational job of sliding left and then getting fouled himself. He played that in an AB combo just like an NBA player.
Scoring binge, averaging 26 points a game the last 5 or 6 contests. You mentioned his free throw shooting, 89%, but he's hitting everything in sight lately.
He's a 180 shooter, Dave. Is a guy who's got a compilation of 180% over his 3-ball, his field goal, his free throw. He's at 188. We'll talk about that more later on.
Antonio Graves says that one batted from behind by Routens. Will tie up on the court here inside the first minute of play at the Dome. Jamie Dixon in his 4th year as the Pitt Panthers head coach. His team was picked by the Big East coaches to win the league this season. That's something he did as a rookie head coach in 2003 and 4.
They've got it all going their way to win it. They've got 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 softs. So they've got a nice combination. Plus, the most valuable player picked by the coaches preseason in Gray.
Routens getting a good look at the basket, did not fire it, but certainly capably on the 3-point line. There's Nichols off the mark, but the rebound hauled in by the lanky 6'11 Watkins, one of the top shot blockers in the Big East. The crowd staying on their feet here in the opening moments inside the Dome. Watkins turns and leaves it short. Kendall with the rebound.
He needs to go at the shot blocker and go to the rim. was searching for Gray with his eyes there after he turned and faced him.
Both Pitt and Syracuse have faced one common opponent in Oklahoma State this season. They both lost to the Cowboys. Syracuse by 4 in the Jimmy V Classic. Pitt in double overtime at Oklahoma City, 95-89. Graves trying to shimmy inside, outside to Kendall, and he knocks it down.
He does a terrific job of aligning himself relative to the penetration of the ball and taking what comes to him, Kendall.
Dixon says of Kendall, he may be the best all-around player we have at Pitt. He's certainly our best defender. The fifth-year senior, they get a lot of leadership through Levon Kendall. Watkins on high, trying to bounce underneath for Nichols. Lost the handle on the pass. Here come the Pitt Panthers now, coming in 12-2, ranked 10th in the country. Kendall looking for someone to make a move, finds Cook, the transfer from East Carolina. Here's Fields. The jump shot will rim out. Knocked out of bounds by Kendall of Pittsburgh, and SU will check it in.
And no tale of two cities here. Syracuse is playing man-to-man. They're trying to get Roberts to help out on Gray and play off his man.
The crowd at Syracuse staying on their feet until the Orange hit their first field goal. A couple of foul shots to get them started. Watkins, here's Roberts. Knocks it down, the three-pointer. That's a very famous name in Orange circles, of course. His father was a big star here back in the day, back in the early 1980s, playing for Jim Boeheim, the great Leo Rottens, who went on to play in the NBA, drafted in the first round by the 76ers.
And now the coach of the Canadian national team.
And his son played for him. So did Levon Kendall, in fact. They're enemies tonight. That one's going to get knocked down by Antonio Graves, Pitt's most experienced guard, the 6'3" senior out of Mansfield, Ohio. So Pitt and SU knotted at 5.
What we've seen is Syracuse changing defenses on makes and misses.
Nichols, pretty sweet-looking shot, averaging 19.8 points a game, the top scorer in the Big East.
When the Orange score, they're coming back in the 2-3 zone, and when they miss, they're in man-to-man.
Cook at the head of the key.
That's because they don't want Pitt to get into a rhythm.
Here's Graves. Not this time. Watkins high up for the rebound. You can really see him turning into a monster in the Big East defensively. So much to handle. Roberts calling for it. Down low with the left hand. Can't get it.
Played too fast and didn't get his head around. He had no chance to make it.
Fields all the way through, and he's going to lay it in. No one picked up Levance Fields, the little sophomore out of Brooklyn, who's been running the point now that Carl Krauser has gone. Fields nicknamed the General, although that nickname has been taken, I'm told.
By a guy who has 880 wins, thank God.
Yeah, that's all.
Or we'd be pro-going that every time up.
Which should be going on. There's Josh Wright, who provides about 9 points a game, following the immensely popular Jerry McNamara. And running the show for Syracuse, a 10-7 lead for the Orange.
Stacey Dales has a good analogy on Fields. She says he reminds her of Khalid Al-Amin, and he does. He's stocky, he's got the ball on the string, and he's got a great change of speed.
Timeout. 15-16 to go here in the first half. Could be a great one tonight. Syracuse and Pitt tangling in the Big East opener. On the SU campus, that is Krause College, all lit up, even though the students are away. SU on top of number 10 Pitt, 10-7. Following the progress of Demetrius Nichols over the years, how sweet was that last jump shot, Coach?
Well, the fact that he gains such great separation and puts it up with such terrific confidence, look at him fall away there to create space. His improvement has been so dramatic during his career at Syracuse. Take a look at these numbers, and to augment that, he was 50% starting this game from the field, 48% from 3, having shot 39 for 80, and 90% from the free-throw line. That's a cumulative total of 188. When you're 180, you're Reggie Miller and you're Hornacek in the NBA. This kid could well get there as just a classic shooter.
Well, that's his dream, to play in the NBA after that. And it's interesting, Stacey touched on his stuttering issue, which he is overcoming valiantly right now. He would like to be a broadcaster. He'd like to broadcast basketball, and he's in the communication school, the Monte Newhouse School here at Syracuse. Off the mark is Mike Cook, but another opportunity here for Pitt. A tangle on the floor. Pitt lost it out of bounds.
Right now, the Orange are the first on the floor. When you saw that Bob Hurley's player, now at the Cuse, when you saw him go down to the floor, you knew that we were in good shape now tonight. Terrence Roberts. he was the first one to the floor, and usually he's the last to go down, despite of playing for Hurley at St. Anthony's.
Roberts has missed the last couple of games because of a knee bruise. Back in there at the right time because Matt Gorman, who was going to start at one forward spot, is injured. Roberts off the front of the rim, barely glanced it. Gorman yesterday came up lame in practice, badly turned his ankle. He's on crutches, in fact, tonight. Did not even dress. Here's Gray straight on. He has excellent shooting touch, but not this time. And Wright wants to push the tempo a bit. Here's Nichols again. High up Watkins as he came sailing down the lane. Out in front, here's Graves trying to score it for the Panthers and can't get it done.
Good no call by the referee there.
You know, back to Demetrius Nichols for just a moment. You talked with him at length yesterday about what it might take for him to get to that next level, to really become an NBA player of some impact. I loved how closely he listened to everything you said. One of the things you said, you've got to find a spot on the court that you're confident you can go to and hit your shot anytime you want to.
That's what great shooters got to do. Freddie Brown did it, Calvert Chaney, Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller knew coming off that single double on the wing, that was his money shot. When others weren't falling, he was going to get there. And you know what? He's got to learn to put the ball on the floor a little better to go to a middle game, but I love his attitude.
Sophomore Eric Devendorf checks in. Nichols is out. Devendorf certainly dangerous beyond the three-point arc. He's had a lot of problems lately, physical problems and otherwise. Stacey will have more on that. But Ronald Ramon with the turnover. And Fields forcing the action here for the Panthers.
They'll get it to Ramon for a jumper, and he'll take it. He heats up right away when he comes in the game.
Fields just a little bit short with his jump shot. They're not falling from beyond the three-point line, certainly for Pitt in the early moments.
And Gray has showed no board presence, Dave. He's got to get his big body down in there and rebound. They're 6'8", 6'9", and 6'11", respectively, across that front line.
Roberts trying to put it to the deck. Not a good idea at 6'9". Third turnover for Syracuse, and Pitt will be heading to the line here. No basket. 13:24 to play in the first half. We're talking about Eric Devendorf, the 6'4" sophomore from Bay City, Michigan. And Stacey, it's been a rough time for the youngster as of late, hasn't it?
You know, Dave, it really has. He's from inner city Detroit. And, you know, we hear a lot of stories on the air and through sports with rough times, but he really has experienced it. He was sick early in December, played poorly, wasn't playing very well for Boeheim, wasn't even playing at all. And then his best friend, DeVell Washington, got shot in the throat, in the back. He's paralyzed for life. Devendorf went home over the holidays and visited with his best friend. It really tore him up, though, guys. And the thing that struck me that he told me, in his area, Saginaw area in Michigan, 20 different people have been shot and murdered. Friends of his, comrades. What a struggle he's been through, but he spent a lot of time with his mother and father and AAU coach Will Smith, and they've really helped him get out of it. And when he's struggling, he goes and finds space on his own, guys.
And you can tell, Stacey, you spent a lot of time with him yesterday, as did Rick and I during the SU practice. He's just coming out of all of that, trying to force the tempo a little bit. Inside is Harris, and Harris, the terrific young freshman, can't get it to go from close range. Ramon, good outside shot, not this time, off the back iron. Tyrell Biggs battling for the rebound, but it's off him and back over to the orange.
I'm not accustomed to seeing Pitt play quite at this breakneck speed and taking those transition threes. Usually they're a bit more methodical and more predictable, in spite of the fact that Gray's out of the game. Checking into the game, by the way, talking about space, is 11, Paul Harris, the best athlete on the floor by far. Watch his 43-inch vertical jump.
Yeah, the most heralded recruit Syracuse has had since Carmelo Anthony. He's low for it and lays it up and in on cue.
I wanted him to flush it down after I gave him that build-up.
Harris averaging 11 points and 7 rebounds a game. Some would say he has underperformed given all the hype coming into Syracuse. Many thought he would be going to the NBA had the rules allowed that to occur. They do not any longer. Up at Syracuse.
Au contraire, he's learning the game. He's trying to fit into the system. He's deferring to older players. Let's not forget they got 3 seniors and a junior playing alongside of him.
Biggs fouled from behind by Devendorf, but the crowd doesn't like the call at all. They thought it was all balls. Hey, Saturday, ESPN brings you a college basketball doubleheader. At noon Eastern, Virginia Tech faces DeMarcus Nelson and Duke, and then at 2 Eastern, it's freshman sensation Greg Oden taking on Illinois. It's the Buckeyes against Illinois. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
2 other freshman sensations in that game, in my opinion. DeQuan Cook from Dayton who is going to be a surefire NBA pro. And then I like Mike Conley out of Indianapolis, who was his teammate in high school. He's a really speedster. His dad was an Olympian athlete. That's going to be a great game to watch because Illinois will be out in the passing games looking for deflections, and I think they'll leave Orton in a one-on-one defense.
Biggs missed them both. Syracuse with another rebound. That's something to watch very carefully. Pittsburgh is 12-0 when out-rebounding the opposition. So far, Syracuse has had the advantage on the glass here in the first half. Harris can do so many things with it. Maybe shooting threes isn't one of them. He's just 1 for 16 so far in his freshman season beyond the arc. Here's Harris lining up a long one. That'll roll on out.
1 for 17.
And counting.
Q.
Yeah. Ramon outside. Young man who grew up in a basketball family in the Dominican Republic, where his father was a professional. Also played in Brazil and Argentina.
Boeheim always has that face that looks like he sucked on a lemon. When he shot that 3-ball, it looked like there were 2 lemons going down.
Ramon knocks it down to 6'1" junior. We'll see if Harris attempts another one. Udof inside and can't get the roll, but he'll go to the line as he was fouled by Antonio Graves. Jim Boeheim has done so much winning in this program. The all-time Big East Conference winner with 322 victories. SU leading number 10, Pitt by 2 with 11:16 to play in the first half, and a big one coming up on Saturday.
College basketball around the world. They're not going to get a shot away, and here they come. He's feeling it. He's further down the bench. What a motion.
That's incredible.
Game over. What a play. Look at this.
Going to be a dandy on Saturday. UConn and LSU, and one of your great favorites, Big Baby, going at it.
It's a war of the worlds there. It's a 250-pound, 280-pound, really, cookie-eating monster who just lives in the color in the paint versus Hashim Thabit, the 7'3", 250-pound freshman. If the Connecticut kid can stay down, he does not have to leave his feet and stay deployed. He can bother Big Baby. If Big Baby finds his body, he's going to go for 30 if he gets angled.
Hey, speaking of babies, the youngster Paul Harris on the bench now, sitting next to Jim Boeheim after that rather nasty-looking three-point effort.
Well, Jim is still on him because he's 1 for 16, 1 for 17. He takes it early in the clock, out of rhythm, and contested. Points A, B, and C of what would constitute a bad shot were all checked in that, and Boeheim's 100% right in benching him when he's young, so he learns that.
Diemendorf at the line, an 84% foul shooter, one of the best Syracuse has. He gets the pair to make it 14-10 Syracuse.
Diemendorf and Roughton got those classic strokes like they lived from ages 1 through 14 in Indiana.
Pittsburgh needs to get their big man, Aaron Gray, a little more active when he returns to the court. He has yet to score, has 3 rebounds, and is pretty much non-factor at this point. Graves starts to move in. Shot clock at 12 now. Benjamin way outside.
They're looking for the lob. Graves wants the lob behind the zone.
Benjamin launches a 3 and knocks it down, and from way downtown.
So much for the lob.
Yeah, a lob of sorts. Yeah. It certainly brought rain. 14-13. Pitt has been ranked as high as number 2 this season. A season that has included a particularly grueling stretch. Diemendorf off the mark. Remember in mid-December, those games against Wisconsin and Oklahoma State and Dayton, and they lost 2 of those 3. Diemendorf calling for the ball after the turnover out in front. Will lay it in.
Jim didn't like that shot by Diemendorf, not the layup, the jumper, but they atoned for it with heads-up defense.
And Harris playing a little cheerleader right now, trying to get that crowd up. He's just a kid, just a rookie.
Demetrius Nichols does not, he got the deflection last time in the steal. He does not use the zone as an excuse not to have active hands and play tough on the offside of the ball.
Biggs doing a nice job turning and facing the basket. No one there to guard him, and he knocks it down. A lot less of him, by the way, Coach, because he was at 260 last season. Biggs a little smaller now. He checks in about 240.
Syracuse has got to keep the ball out of that dead zone, out of that area just below the foul line.
Nichols in and out, but it mattered little because Terrence Roberts was there to flush it down.
Nice timing.
Pittsburgh. And listen to the big crowd inside the Carrier Dome. SU leading by 3. Time his team up by 3 with 9:28 left here in the first half. If you're not performing well, he's going to get right in your grill. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, he just gave Devendorf the 4 on that jump shot. That's why he doesn't show any favorites. It's not an equal opportunity sport.
And Boeheim said of Devendorf last year's freshman season, he said he was a little too talkative as a rookie player. I told him, don't talk so much to the other team's good players. They get angry. Talk to the guys who aren't so good. Cook straight on. Got it. A 2-pointer. And Cook with excellent shooting touch at 57%. The transfer from East Carolina.
And that falls in line with Syracuse's game plan. They absolutely do not want that ball to go in the middle of the zone around the foul line area. They'll live with Pitt having to hit that shot consistently.
Bounce with a catch and shoot. And Cook going after the rebound. That's actually going to be off Pitt and out of bounds.
Young and Gray have said a long time they should be amply rested right here.
Syracuse with 4 offensive boards. Pitt with only 1. And that's more than halfway through the first half. So really Gray and Kendall, the 2 big guys, not crashing that offensive glass at all.
And offensive rebounding is such a staple of the Pitt package.
Roberts starts his move. In traffic, banked it in. What a beautiful shot.
And how about Gray backing out of there? He backpedaled out of that like Carmelo did when he hit that punch. He's got to stay there and make that guy take him to the ground. Who's going to move a bulldozer in there?
And Aaron Gray, a big, strong kid. In fact, once shattered a backboard in high school, though he fractured his ankle on the play.
Devendorf is really quick.
Ramon off the back of that iron. Devendorf really giving SU a shot of life here, but short with it off that side rim and out. Syracuse on top 20-17. This is the 95th meeting between Pitt and Syracuse.
Dave, what made that last shot by Devendorf a good one is it was in rhythm, it was in range, it came in transition. The easiest 3 in the collegiate game is a transition 3 off the dribble. That was his shot. That's why that last 3 was a good one.
But Syracuse is cold from beyond that arc. They've missed their last 5 threes in succession. Vance Fields trying to get underneath, throw it away. Harris, who certainly doesn't have the body of a freshman. That one is way short by Nichols, who has been draining his threes, as you said, up around 49%. Cook in the paint. Short again. Tipped twice. He keeps it alive. Here's Fields to fire. That 3 won't go. Gray, no foul there. Knocked out of bounds off the orange. And coming up, we don't want to give it away, but this Pitt forward is a serious player. Off the court as well. A young man with a magic touch when we return.
Kendall, I'm going to play a song called Wandering Soul that my father Simon Kendall wrote in the late 70s for my mom when he was trying to win her over.
Dad, not the only ones that can play. How about 6'6" sophomore Sam Young, also joining on the piano. The Big East All-Rookie team is a freshman, multi-talented in his own right, also terrific in gymnastics. He does a mean backflip. And Levon Kendall himself, very fluent in French, also on the piano, obviously, and played soccer in Canada as a 6'9" goalkeeper. Not a whole lot got by him.
An anthropology major. He better start looking for some rebounds. That's the anthropology he needs right now.
Start digging. SU timeout, and Syracuse will keep the basketball here with 7:34 left in the first half. And for Stacy, well, Levon Kendall is a guy of many talents, and got a chance to hear. What do you think of the piano? He's a pretty good musician.
Well, Dave, for a young lady, it's really exciting to watch a young man play the piano like that. You know, it's interesting, though, as a Canadian, I have to point out, Dave, the fact that Levon's father, Simon Kendall, a very well-known keyboardist with a jazz band in Canada. They travel all through Canada, so he's been basically around music his entire life. He even has every single piece of band equipment you can imagine in his basement with his roommate back in Pitt. Guys, he's versatile on the court and, of course, versatile off the court.
Well, proving it here tonight, the 6'10 senior from Vancouver.
Harris checks back into the game for Syracuse, and what I liked is Roberts and Watkins tried to give him some leadership there, showed him some definition. I'm not a guy who likes three captains. I think a camel is a horse put together by a committee. I like one guy responsible for the captaincy, but if you got two seniors, go to them, you know.
Good chance that Harris won't shoot a three, trying to move inside. Strong move, and with that physique of his, with that body, he can blow by about anybody.
That's his game. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's explosive, he's strong, and he loves and embraces contact. Forget that three-ball, son. There's a reason they're not covering out there.
Well, you know, he really embraces the crowd, too. He acts 50% of the time like a player, 50% of the time like a cheerleader. Gray will finally be going to the line here again. But Harris, I mean, if not for the new rule prohibiting a youngster from jumping directly to the NBA out of high school, look at that body, could very well be there.
He is so strong. Look at his eyes, how determined he is. Look at him get that shoulder in there. He was just waiting for Gray to come over.
Harris's life nearly took a disastrous turn back in high school when he was arrested on charges of intent to sell crack cocaine. He was charged with assault after a fight with a girlfriend a year later. In between, he became the father of a baby boy while Paul was still a boy himself. His son is now 3 years old and lives with him on occasion on the SU campus. And Paul Harris is the first person in his family ever to attend college. Many thought that would never happen. He's persevered through a lot, I mean, a lot of those mistakes of his own making. Sweet shot inside by Terrence Roberts, showing that knee is okay.
And talk about sweet, he switched from his right hand to his left hand on that. It looked like he was going to go throw it down. Nice body control.
SU opening up their biggest lead of the night, 24-18 over number 10 Pitt.
Now they're trying to keep the ball away from 33 in that dead zone right there. Syracuse is dead if that ball goes to the foul line area.
Graves with a three. Too strong. Gray tried to follow and missed it. Got his own rebound and swatted away by Watkins. The top shot blocker the SU Orangemen have.
What a beautiful block, and he did that with his inside hand. You'll see him come across his rear end there to avoid contact. Watch the timing on this, as well as how he comes with his inside hand. Had he reached over with his left hand, he would have gotten a foul.
Watkins with his 100th block last season late in the campaign. He's already up to 45 of them this year. Cook calling for some motion here for Pitt. Young sealed off. Cook will shoot it. And the shot's just not falling, but a second effort as Young kept it alive.
They're packing it in so tight, they feel they've got to take that three ball. That's what you need, a little dribble penetration right there.
Cook does it, flips it up, left it just shy. Harris with his head up. Down the court for the Orangemen. Nichols. It rolls off the rim. Nichols hot early, but has cooled off markedly. Quickly got down the other end, though, and knocked it out.
How about transitioning from that jump shot on the baseline on the left short corner to coming back on the left side of the floor, crossing 94 feet and deflecting? That's what makes Nichols a warrior. Take a look at Nichols here. Look at the motor. Look at his eyes and vision. He's so selfless for being a star.
6'8" senior out of Boston. And indeed, he has become a star here in upstate New York. The swing to Benjamin. The three-pointer is good.
They finally get a ball rotation.
Have not been hitting their threes tonight. But that one finally falls, and it's a three-point game. That quiets the crowd inside 5 minutes left in the opening half.
What a great game.
You expected it might be, and so many times Pitt and Syracuse over the years have had classic fights just like this. Watkins powering his way in. Nichols with the follow. Airborne, caught it and got it to go.
You talked about a guy having the complete package. That was just determination. Big heart on that one.
Pitt opening its 25th Big East Conference season tonight. Ironically enough, their first game ever in the Big East was a loss to Syracuse here in upstate New York. Gray will flush that one down. Aaron Gray, the preseason Big East Player of the Year.
And for only the fourth time this half, the ball hits the dead zone, and they're looking to go high-low to Gray. They move Gray out of the middle of the zone and behind the smart move by Jamie.
Right with a long three, not there for him, and Fields to push tempo here now for the Panthers. All the way through, flips it up. Count that basket. That is goaltending. And it is really tightened up now. Syracuse with a 26-25 lead in the first half of the Dome.
Ravage coming up on the UPS halftime report. An unbeaten breakdown. There are currently 3 left. 2 of them are playing tonight, including #1 UCLA. We'll break that down for you. Also, a big deal for the New York Yankees. The unit heads back to the desert where they find the fountain of youth out there. And running away with the NFL MVP, LaDainian Tomlinson, has got it. We'll tell you his feelings. And also late word on a news conference tomorrow in Pittsburgh for the Steelers. Back to you guys.
Rabbi, thank you very much. Pitt on a 7-2 run over the last minute and 10 seconds. They've cut the SU lead to 1 just inside 4 minutes to play as we go inside the play.
We're going to show you the dead zone here, and it's right here. If that ball comes inside there, Syracuse is dead because they're going to go high-low. Now as the ball gets changed right here, you're going to see Sam Young flash up. They hit him. Stop it. Here's Gray behind it, and they're going to go right there, and the zone has moved up, and that's only the 4th time this game the ball has got to that high post. And when it does happen, you're vulnerable to that.
Stephen King would love the way you draw. The Dead Zone, that was a pretty good film in a Stephen King novel as well.
Well, your wife told me that you had magic fingers like Levon Kendall. I want to know the song you wrote for her.
Roberts off to Nichols with the turn and shoot. Tried the glass and came up empty, and Watkins is pushing from behind. The foul on the SU big man, his first. A little bit odd, too, as we come into Syracuse here in January. 2 things are very strange. First of all, it's 50 degrees outside. The second thing is Syracuse is unranked, not in the top 25 here in early January.
So is that as catastrophic as the global warming issue?
That's what it feels like here.
No, I'm talking about Syracuse being unranked.
Well, no, not that, but it certainly feels like global warming has taken a major spot here in upstate New York. Evendorf, 5th turnover now for Pitt. And the SU sophomore will push it inside, flips it up and in.
Right through 3 Pitt defenders. You've got to close that lane down. And when you're 7'1", 270 pounds, you've got to get your body in there to penetration.
Evendorf has been through so much physically and emotionally, responding with 6 points, though, in the first half here in their Big East opener against Pitt.
Best of all, he's playing with confidence. Perhaps not poised, but he sure is confident.
Ray off to Fields. Quick dish for 2.
I love that little teardrop there. He squeegeed that up there. It was like a touch pass almost, and he got it up to the rim.
He's averaging 9 points per game. Watkins at the foul line, gives it up. Nichols really has been the offense, but Evendorf will drain it from 3-point land.
And how about the unselfishness there? The and-one pass of Demetrius Nichols.
Nichols has been the focus of so much of the offense for Boeheim lately, but an unselfish pass that merits a 3-pointer by Evendorf. Kendall ready to check back in for the Pitt Panthers. They need his presence. They've fallen behind 31-27.
They've got to get Ramon shots from the perimeter. He's got the long range and the quick release. They're backed up so much.
Ramon will give it up. Fields inside the 3 will stop and pop and get it to go.
What a nice shot fake. Very few New York City kids come in with that middle game. They always want to bogart you and take it to the rim. I like that about Fields.
Fields out of Brooklyn. 31-29. Benjamin battling with Nichols. Nichols turns now. And it knocked right back to him. The fadeaway will go.
He stays with it. He never gives up on the play.
A 50% shooter for the season. 33-29 Syracuse.
See if they can find Ramon to get off the mark here.
Ramon nearly lost it and finally did. Wright just ripped it out of his hands, and now Ramon knocks it out of bounds on a clean play. Back to Nichols. We start with that N1 pass just seconds ago.
Here we go. Nichols has got himself a shot. drives, kicks it. Here's Devendorf rhythming up into the shot. It doesn't get any better than that. Now we're going to take a look at Nichols' shot right here. He gets it back up off the loose ball fumble, creates great separation from the shot blocker, Gray, and has that high arc release.
SU by 4. Devendorf losing his dribble momentarily. Coming up on the 1-minute mark. First half winding down. A vastly entertaining first 20 minutes.
Boeheim did a nice job calling that trap out of the timeout that generated that last turnover.
Watkins fouled on the elbow. With 56.2 seconds left, Kendall picks up his first personal. And Watkins sent to the line. He's really become a defensive force. Mookie Watkins, the 6'11 senior out of Patterson, New Jersey. And coming off a career best 18 points in an SU win over St. Bonaventure. And I think he surprised himself a little bit that he was able to pour in those kind of points.
And playing so composed today. He's making good passing decisions here today and really giving a nice board presence. Not to mention his shot blocking ability.
In and out with a second one. 34-29 Syracuse. Ramon took a glance at the basket. 45 seconds to go in the half. Gray set the screen. Fields fired short. No foul on it. But the layup and the basket count that foul as well, as Cook will go to the line.
What a heartbreaker. Comes off that pick. Nice ploy there by Pitt to set that pick for him. Takes it back up. Cook on the air ball.
And Roberts with the foul, number 2. So he's going to have to come out, and Harris is in. As Cook will go to the line to try and finish up the three-point play. A heartbreaker indeed.
On the plane ride home, Fields will call that a pass if they win.
Cook too strong. Nichols with a high rebound.
Going to go for one. Now, here's something I've been watching collegiately, Dave. You want to get that ball up with 4 seconds, I think, to give yourself at least another shot at the rim. For the couple of times they make it back in transition on you, you want to give yourself every opportunity to have 1 or 2 scores, particularly when you've got guys pounding the glass here like Roberts and Watkins.
Just a slight difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Wright starting to make his move. Nichols setting that screen.
Now Harris has got one job, get to the rebound.
Devendorf just lost it. Opportunity here with 1 second to go, and Pitt lays it in, and it'll count at the buzzer.
Look at Boeheim's face.
Jim Boeheim not happy with the way it ended in the last minute of play. Pitt breaking the orange.
He thought there was a foul right here. I don't see it. Nice play by Pitt. They had the presence of mind to get it down court. He heard the footsteps. He tried to juke it a little bit. I'd have preferred to see him flush it down.
And Cook laying it in at the buzzer as we go to Stacy with Jamie Dixon.
Coach, what's the assessment of your offense against Syracuse's changing defenses?
Got better as the zone went on. We got a better job of getting the ball inside, executed in that regard. So that was good as we went on. We got to do a better job on the pick and rolls, but we'll get better in the second half.
How important was that last play going into the second half?
Big play. We won the pressure. We didn't want them to get to the lane. We had fouls to give, and then we did a good job keeping them in front, and then we got the good steal, and they finished well on it, with the guy going under him.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Stacy, Jamie, thank you very much. A very entertaining first half. Syracuse barely hanging out of the lead against number 10 Pitt, 34-33. Back to the studio and Carl Ravitch now with the UPS halftime report.
Hi, Dave and Rick. Great start. Big East underway. Syracuse leading Pitt by 1, although things kind of came apart there at the end of the half. Second half should be very good. You got Stephen Barrow, Fran Fischel, along with myself, Carl Ravitch. A lot going on off the basketball court, but still games in conference underway. Big East, a little down this year, people believe. Marquette taking on a Providence team. Dominique James, and he's on Marquette. That's Jonathan Cale showing some strong moves down low.
It's a big game for Providence early in the conference. They need some momentum in that Big East race.
Wayne Williams. We talk about a deep three. That's NBA range, and that thing finds the bottom. 12-5, Providence over Marquette. Within the last couple of minutes, the Pittsburgh Steelers have scheduled a news conference for Friday where it is expected that they will announce that Bill Cowher has in fact decided to resign and leave the Pittsburgh Steelers as the head coach. More on that on SportsCenter. And the New York Yankees have a deal in place, tentatively reaching an agreement with the Arizona Diamondbacks to send 4 players back to New York. None of them huge names. And move Randy back to Arizona, where he won a World Series in 2001. They're working on a contract extension for 2008 and a physical. 3 unbeatens left. One of them squeaking by last night. That was Clemson. 2 out west, Arizona and the Bruins. We'll talk about the unbeatens when we come back.
This is the UPS Halftime Report.
Syracuse had a big lead, played well. This didn't help them. Mike Cook with the layup at the buzzer. Jamie Dixon said important little momentum going into the half. It's a 1-point game. Syracuse 34, Pitt 33. Pittsburgh's got 1 loss. They are not among the unbeatens as Clemson improved to 15-0 with a squeaker last night. Oregon's 13-0, UCLA 13-0. If, in fact, UCLA and Oregon both win, they will play each other over the weekend. Looking forward to that. So you got Clemson, you got Oregon, you got UCLA. Traditional power. Oregon team is coming, and you guys both love Clemson. What is, as we play catch and shoot, the one common thread between the 3?
Well, for me, Carl, it's guard play. All 3 teams have outstanding backcourts. When you look at UCLA, obviously you start with Aaron Aflalo and a really good, much improved Darren Collison, the sophomore from L.A., who has really given them some spark in the backcourt. But it's an outstanding backcourt, and not only offensively, as we show you some highlights of the Bruins knocking down some shots, but defensively as well. Oregon, same thing. Most improved player in the Pac-10 this year, junior Bryce Taylor. That's right, the son of former ABA star Brian Taylor. And in Clemson, a veteran backcourt, 2 guys who've started for 3 and 4 years, Hammonds and Hamilton. And then you throw in Casey Rivers, a sophomore, who comes off the bench who can really score. For me, it's guard play. And here's one thing about the guard play. All 3 teams are turning opponents over at about a 26 or 27% rate. That means every 100 possessions, 27 turnovers. Pretty good defense starting in the backcourt.
Yeah, but, Coach, I like chemistry. Anytime you have a special team like the 3 that we're just talking about, chemistry plays a factor. You know these guys really like each other. UCLA, having 4 guys averaging double figures, they love to share the rock. You look at Clemson, their leading scorer, Casey Rivers, doesn't even start. Comes off the bench. You know the star has got to feed him the rock to be able to score. And then you look at Oregon, 6 players averaging double figures. They average over 17 assists a game, and 10 guys play over 11 minutes per game. That's chemistry. That's why these teams are so
but we
special.
get along because we got a good show going here. But on a bad show, I've heard you rip Fran. What happens if one of these teams goes on a losing streak? Does the chemistry go out the window?
No, it doesn't necessarily go out the window because they all 3 play in tough conference, or, you know, ACC and the Pac-10.
And particularly Clemson and Oregon are going to lose some games, but you can't get down on them because they're in conference play now.
All right, UCLA, number 1 everybody understands that. Clemson didn't have them there. Oregon, some people knew, others didn't. Which is the bigger surprise, Clemson or Oregon?
Well, to me, it's Clemson. Not from the. I think Clemson's the better basketball team myself. I've seen Clemson in person. They're one of the best pressing teams in the country. But the reason they're a surprise to me is they've played a tougher schedule than Oregon. When you look at what they've done in terms of going on the road and winning at places like Old Dominion and at South Carolina, at Florida State last night, and then wins over SEC teams, Mississippi State, and an improved Georgia team, I'm surprised because they played a tough schedule. And one other thing about Clemson with James Mays in the lineup. They are 26-0 going back to last season, 11-0 last year, 15-0 right now.
Well, Coach, my surprise team should be Oregon. You know, when you look at the Ducks, you know, Ernie Kent kind of on the bubble there before the season, underachieving team. But you look at Tawan Porter. Who would expect this young man to come on the scene like he has, fill up with 38 points at Portland State, then follows it up with another 28 against Cal State Northridge. They've got a veteran backcourt that's feeding the young guy the rock. So this is what really surprised me the most is Oregon.
Yeah, best way to get off the bubble for a coach like Ernie Kent is play a soft non-conference schedule. That's what they've done.
But the conference, of course, is the toughest. I mean, the Pac-10's got the RPI at number 1. The Missouri Valley's number 3. The Big East that we're seeing tonight is way down the list at number 7. That being said, there's no way, right, that UCLA can run the table, let alone get through their own conference.
I don't think they can. I mean, we love UCLA. We love their backcourt. We know how good a job Ben Howland does, and they may be the best defensive team in the country in the half court. But the schedule is much too tough, particularly as Carl mentioned. Pac-10 right now is playing its best basketball in 3 or 4 years. There may be 5 teams in the NCAA tournament when it's all said and done. So from that standpoint, I don't think there's any way UCLA is going through unscathed.
When are they losing?
I think they lose at Washington State, second to last game of the regular season.
I think
they can go that far. Pittsburgh plays a tough East Coast style of ball. They D you up, they grind you, they scratch you.
But Arizona?
Washington State showed what they could do at Pauley Pavilion. First game of the Pac-10 schedule. They threw a scare in UCLA. I think UCLA will run the table to the second to last game of the Pac-10. They get up there, and Tony Bennett and crew will shock them.
Brent.
Oregon, Arizona, they've heard that.
What did he just do to the chemistry out here?
Oh, he just killed it. One guy can really spoil it for everybody.
He just destroyed it. Second to last game of the regular season. Well, still playing in the postseason, of course, the San Diego Chargers. They got the MVP. LaDainian Tomlinson ran away the same way he has run into the end zone this year with the Most Valuable Player Award. Some NFL news and notes when we come back. Well, a no-brainer here. LaDainian Tomlinson named the AP MVP with his NFL record-setting 31 touchdowns this season. He says when you're the MVP of the league, it's a great accomplishment. I've had a great year. That's all on a great team. All but 6 first-place votes. Mark McGuire, when it comes to voting, it appears as if the writers will not elect him on the first ballot into Cooperstown. The ESPN poll conducted of over 100 writers shows 74% saying it's a no-go. They also said Bonds, Sosa, and Palmeiro fall far below the required 75% needed to get into the Hall.
Electricity inside the Carrier Dome for the Big East opener for number 10 Pitt. And unranked Syracuse and SU clinging to a 1-point lead as we get ready for the second half. Dave O'Brien, Rick McJarrett, Stacey Dales with you. And we go back and think about Star Watch, Demetrius Nichols and Aaron Gray, thinking they were going to pour in all these points to lead their troops in the first half. It hasn't happened. They've been locked down by and large.
Well, initially the changing defenses and then the zone and keeping it out of the dead zone that we talked about has negated Gray. And then they've absolutely made Demetrius Nichols put the ball on the floor. Their mantra on defense is this: make him dribble to a shot, make him drive all the way. So now what Nichols has done and what Gray's got to learn to do is find some other ways to score. There he posts up with a little separation. Here he's just alert. He decides, I'm going to go rebound, and fights off LeVar Fields with that. And then he decides to get in there again and go up off of the floor with a loose ball. And he's putting point production up, and he's active defensively. And this is what's going to happen with Gray. Both teams have got their marching orders, and it isn't going to be let the Star Watch guy beat us.
Second half underway. The fans up again here inside the dome as Gray turns and drains it.
Bad omen. Only went there 4 times. And the first play of the second half, it goes to the dead zone.
Well, he only had 3 points in the first half on 1-on-3 shooting with 6 rebounds. Pitt takes its first lead of the night at 35-34. Roberts has it batted right back. SU trying to hang on here. Deep into the corner, Nichols gets it away to Wright. He starts the drive, flips it up wildly. Gray's there for the rebound, no foul. Fields to Graves. Got it. His 3-pointer on the money and a quick start for the Panthers in the second half.
They're going to take a timeout right here, I think.
Boeheim had the look on his face like he wanted to, but did not pull the trigger on it. And here comes Fields, keeping it in play, tiptoeing along that line, swoops it up and in, and now he's going to take that timeout.
Well, coaches everywhere talk about the first 4 minutes of the second half being the most important. Really, it's the first 5. It's the 4 minutes to the timeout juncture. Now, take a look at Fields on this steal right here. Roberts telegraphs the pass. Fields is alert. You steal a ball and drives, gets in the passing lane, and finishes it off nicely in transition.
Back in Syracuse, New York, where Pittsburgh has started off very aggressive offensively in the second half. I caught up with Syracuse personnel just after the half who sat in on Jim Boeheim's halftime address, and he was overall very happy. But the one thing perhaps he wasn't happy about was shot selection. And as we've seen in the start of the second half, not good shot selection by the Syracuse players. He wants more ball reversal. He wants to execute the sets, be a little bit more deliberate in the offense, and also they want to post Demetrius Nichols up in the second half. They haven't done it yet, Dave.
So in other words, they've done absolutely nothing that Boeheim wanted, as he told his team at halftime. A man down for Syracuse after the long three-pointer went glancing off the side rim.
They go to Routens, who they feel is their money shooter.
That's Terrence Roberts down on his back, by the way, Coach.
When Devendorf is out, it's interesting how they call Routens' number there, but he is a terrific shooter.
So Roberts, who was only recently back from a bruised knee that caused him to miss a couple of games, is injured at the moment. Let's see if we can pick up what went wrong here.
Well, he got hit in the mouth there, and he just buckles and goes down. The screen is coming up, and he takes a shot in the mouth by the Pitt guy trying to body through the pick.
When healthy, been a big factor, shooting 55% for Syracuse.
Well,
one of 4 returning starters for SU.
We talked about the Pitt defense, about bang, bump. Now you see him right there. Oh, he gets hit by the Pitt guy, kind of chucks him right there a little bit. That Pitt is kind of a clutch and grab defensive outfit here. They play with their body and very physical. I myself like that type of play.
Roberts very slow to rise, but now finally on his feet after a couple of minutes down, and he'll head off to the bench. They made the point that Syracuse felt like they got punched in the mouth in the opening minute and 12 seconds of the second half, and then it occurs quite literally as Roberts has to head off for treatment.
Pitt's man-to-man is characterized by body, bang, and bump. That's what they want to do. If you're going to curl, you're going to cut, they're going to put a body on you. They're going to bang you out when they make room for themselves rebounding. They're going to body out when you try to post up. They're just a very physical outfit.
It was Levon Kendall, who he had playing the piano, Sweet As You Please, in the lobby of the Sheraton earlier. But that got a little nasty. It did not look intentional. A 6-point lead for Pitt all of a sudden.
Levon Kendall is Robin to Gray being Batman. They seem to remind me of Lambier. And
right all the way through and fouled from behind. No basket on the stuff by Harris. They will wave that off.
Kendall reminds me a lot of Rodman when he played alongside Lambier. You know, he's a good guy to play alongside of. In other words, he's not the man, but he feeds off the man and he maneuvers well, generating points productively by being opportunistic.
Mike Cook, the junior from Philly, with his first foul, sending Wright to the line. Josh Wright following the immensely popular Jerry McNamara running the show for Jim Boeheim. McNamara graduating as an All-American, also a big-time folk here, of course. Syracuse may still be getting about 5,000 fans a game from Wilkes-Barre, McNamara's hometown, even though he's been gone for a year.
Well, Harris has got his chance now. If he just rebounds and defends. Harris, number 11 for the Orange.
Kendall flashing in at the foul line, will turn and shoot it. Short, he backs it away and out of play. The Orange will have it, down by 4. I mentioned Jerry McNamara and just what a big hero he was here to the fans in Syracuse, and Stacey Dales a big part of the 2003 national championship team.
Yes, he was a big part of it, and I caught up with his agent today, Bill Neff. Just a quick update for you as Watkins hits a very soft jumper down in the lane. Jerry McNamara, of course, went overseas to Greece with a salary, guys, of $400,000, but he ended up coming back. Why? 30 seconds in 5 games. Not what he wanted, so he's in the NDBL right now. 33 minutes a game, 14.7 assists, guys.
And one of the great All-Americans in Syracuse history as Fields pushes it up and misses. Kendall really bumping along that baseline. It's out of bounds off Syracuse.
And Nichols gives Kendall the 1-4 right back. What I like is Kendall, there's no facial machinations there. He just likes physical play, too.
Devendorf, we talked about how Boeheim has cautioned him. Got to keep your mouth shut when you're talking about the good players. Don't egg them on. Here's Gray on the baseline. That's going to roll off. Watkins with the rebound.
Well, there's 16 NBA teams here tonight watching this game, and I'll tell you what, they didn't like to see Gray being pushed back down, and they don't like to see the 250-pound, 270-pound guys seek jump shots.
Boeheim wants a three-pointer. They're going to go to the monitor right here because right shot, Jim Boeheim was convinced was a three-pointer, and he should have the lead right now, not a tie game with 17 minutes to go. Let's take a look, see if we can pick it up.
Transition three in rhythm off the dribble. Now his foot's right on the line. Boeheim's going to lose this. Good thing there's not a challenge penalty like in the NFL.
John Cal, Carl Hess, J.D. Collins, the crew tonight. And they're going to see what you just saw, that he got a toe on the line.
And it looks like strategically what they've done is they've said it's a dead zone. If Gray flashes up there, they're going to give Kendall that jump shot and see if he can hit it right across that Big East logo there.
They have called that a 2 correctly, so it is tied 40-40.
Are our camera guys great or what? I mean, that was right on it.
Best in the business. Syracuse on a 6-0
the worldwide leader.
That's why we are. Fields off to Kendall. Here's Gray again, doubled up. The kick to Graves.
Watch Harris cover space.
Here's Fields with a 3, and he got it to rattle in. Levance Fields, the sophomore from Brooklyn. Doing a good job running the show for the Panthers.
Cuse couldn't have played that any better. Harris did a great job of getting the hand up, and Fields did a great job of staying with the shot.
Even though he had 9 in the first half, Watkins will rebound it. Fresh shot clock for the Orange.
A real chance here for Watkins to grow up and emerge with Roberts out.
Watkins pulling his way in. Short, and Gray had the position rebound.
And I liked what he did. Take it to the body of the shot blocker.
Cook started to make his move, a blocking foul. May have gotten away with a walk before that. The question is, did he have possession of it? Nichols commits his first foul on Mike Cook. Hey, Saturday ESPN brings you a college basketball doubleheader at noon Eastern. It's Virginia Tech facing DeMarcus Nelson and Duke. Then at 2 Eastern, freshman sensation Greg Oden will lead the Buckeyes against Illinois. All coming up on Saturday on ESPN. Gray in tight to the basket, lays it in.
They ran that play 5 times a game, and Syracuse worked on it ad nauseum, and then they score again because they fell asleep.
Gray with 8 rebounds, 7 points, maybe on his way to his 9th double-double. The long launch will be off the mark by Wright. He had hit one early in this second half, 45-40 Pitt. And we have a timeout with 15:47 to go, and it's Pitt with the momentum inside the dome against Boeheim and the Orange. 21,045 gathering aside to Carrier Dome. Pitt with a 5-point lead with just under 16 minutes to play here in the second half. Aaron Gray, the preseason Big East Player of the Year, already with 8 double-doubles this season, getting the lay-in inside. And Stacey Dales is with Aaron's folks, Michael and Sandy Gray, come to every single game he plays.
That is correct. Quite remarkable. These guys haven't missed a game in 2 years as Aaron's parents. And I have to ask you guys first, I know there's probably a lot of mileage. Tell me about the car situation when you traveled all these games.
Well, we were driving a Ford Explorer, and it got between 18 20 miles to a gallon. And with the rising price of gas, it was killing us. So we went to a Honda Civic, and now the games have become much more affordable.
Now, the big decision was Aaron didn't go to the NBA. Mom, you have a big influence on that. What did you say to Aaron in his decision-making process?
Basically, Mike and I both said that you'll always have the NBA, but this way you'll have your senior year in college, and I really didn't want him to miss that. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and I wanted him to be able to experience that.
Well, he's clearly experiencing. Thank you guys for joining us. And Dave, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Stacey, thanks. I think the Grays can expect a very nice lease from the great folks at Honda in the years to come. Aaron Gray delighting fans there at Pitt that he elected to stay and play another season. Watkins and Harris inside there. Harris tied up and fouled on the play. 45-40 Pitt. And talking about Aaron Gray, the 7-footer, 270 for the Pitt Panthers. Rick Majerus, who does he remind you of?
Mike Doliak, a guy who played for me at Utah. He's kept to his knitting. He's done a good job of getting his body fat down. He's done a nice job of developing a perimeter shot. He's getting a go-to move to his left shoulder, that hook. and he rebounds the ball in and out of his area fairly well.
Watkins getting underneath the basket, but with an extra step, he traveled with it. 6 turnovers for Syracuse.
Here you see Doliak was with the Miami Heat now. He was a little bit more aggressive to dunk it, but they were both willing runners. They're both position body players. They know how to play with their body. Gray does a nice job of demanding and wanting the ball.
Pitt facing that zone. Gray out of traffic. On the baseline, Young went up for the slam, and Diemendorf came over to defend him. It's tipped almost to midcourt. Shot clock at 12. Now down to 10 for Pitt. Gray at the foul line. No one picked him up, but he missed the open jumper. Harris coming out of traffic now for the Orange. It's right. Lays it up. Too short. Nichols got knocked to the floor. No call. The crowd howling in the dome. And Young tries to finish, but he's fouled on the other end. The fans inside the dome upset that their star, Demetrius Nichols, was batted to the deck, but no call.
When Wright takes that shot, they've got to get back in transition. Diemendorf has got to be back. He's not back. Harris doesn't go to the board. Diemendorf gets baited in the fool's goal to steal, and there's no one covering the back end of that fast break. When the one guard takes it to the rack, the 2 guard must rotate back, because usually it's the one's responsibility to get back in transition.
Well, Harris with his second foul to send Young to the line. Another free throw coming. And now Cook will step out along with Gray, and Graves as well. So 3 fresh bodies in for Jamie Dixon. Pitt, the number 10 team in the country. All time, just 10 and 33 against Syracuse inside the dome, but they have won 2 of the last 3 here.
Syracuse is in a world of hurt here unless they get some better shot selection like Stacy had talked about. They've got good shooters. They just need to get good shots.
Diemendorf did a great job switching that to his right hand and getting it to go.
And taking the contact. If nothing else, he is a competitor. And I talked about earlier, there's very few 2 guards that are good shooters that can get to their own shot. Dixon. That's not usually part and parcel of the 2 guards deal.
Dixon very upset. He was able to make that basket, slice that lead to 4.
Now Diemendorf has got to play with his hands more on the zone.
Fields looking for someone. Ramon on the baseline. Shot clock at 6. Biggs trying to get out of there. Fields with a 3. Got it! What does that silence the crowd?
He doesn't have that classic stroke. He cocks that baby back behind his head, but he's worked at it so much and he's so confident.
Diemendorf to Nichols. Way downtown Fields. He now has 16 points. Came in averaging 9 per game. They really don't look for him that often. Turnover here for Syracuse.
This is tough for Harris to be in such a critical time.
So Pitt opens up the 7-point lead. You can tell the Orange are in a danger zone against the top 10 program tonight.
And they've only got 1 sub, and that's Rottens.
Especially now Matt Gorman unavailable because of that badly turned ankle suffered in practice yesterday. Here's Fields again. That one glances off the rim, and it's Harris up to right. The Orange to run. Kicked away. Stolen away. Fields lays it up with the left hand. He is absolutely on fire.
You absolutely do not want to dribble into a crowd as Wright did there. You want to draw a crowd, not dribble into a crowd. Josh Wright caused that turnover by speeds, and speed kills. He gets going so fast. See him dribbling into this crowd here? They're just lined up waiting for him. It wasn't so much a steal as it was Wright dribbling into an area in which he had no business. Once numerically they had matched up on the break, the break's over. You got to pull it out.
Pitt on an 11-2 run over the last 3.5 minutes as we go to Stacey Dales.
Well, guys, still no Terrence Roberts for Syracuse. He took a tough elbow to the chin, and it really stretched up through his mouth. He's getting stitches on his lips in the locker room. He is getting concussion tests as well, guys. He's awake and alert, but we're still uncertain whether or not he'll return, Dave.
Well, Syracuse already, Stacey, as you know, playing short with Gorman out with a sprained ankle. He's on crutches. Also, freshman Mike Jones announced he is leaving school. That yesterday. He's transferring. He's been averaging only about 6 minutes per game. So Gorman hurt. Roberts is out at the moment. And Jones is gone.
And it looked like LeVon Kendall threw an elbow into that right there. I don't know if he did it intentionally, but McRoberts is going to really feel some pain tomorrow.
Nichols with the miss. And the Carrier Dome has really quieted down here the last 3.5 minutes. Benjamin on the drive. Harris nearly blocked it. Off to Ramon, and he'll knock down his two-pointer. And it's all Pitt right now.
It's all Pitt, and it's all over, to tell you the truth. We want to try to hold on to the audience here if we can. But I want to tell you something, just the psychological makeup of the Orange right now won't allow him to come back, I don't think.
Nichols lines up a three. That's a little more like it for the Orange fans.
And a good call by Boeheim, a 1-3 pick that they don't switch. Actually, he's playing a four-man right now, Demetrius Nichols. That's why that pick was so effective. It was a one-man coming off of a four-man.
Well, he's been their leader, averaging 26 points a game the last half-dozen contests. Off Syracuse and out of bounds with 11:27 left in the second half. Getting pretty physical, and SU needs a run on the home court.
Elsewhere in the Big East tonight, Providence and Marquette. Marquette at 13-2, Providence 10-3 this early season. Herbert Hill getting free underneath. Providence doing the job at home, up 37-28. Hill has got 11 points at the break. Coming up here, more basketball. You're looking at Dante Vaughn, averaging just shy of 15 this year. It's the Bearcats. They'll be in action. That's our second game right around 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll send it back to Syracuse.
Gabby, thank you very much. And how about the Big East surprises this season? No question, it's West Virginia. Big upset there of Connecticut. Of course, Notre Dame, 13-1, 1-0 inside the conference. Russell Carter, 22. Notre Dame right now ranked in the top 25. Russell Carter averaging 18 points a game.
And all of those wins are home wins. And let's not forget, there are no upsets at home sometimes. Home is where you're supposed to win, especially in this league. That's why Syracuse is in trouble right now.
Well, they do have Terrence Roberts back on the bench after getting that shot in the mouth on the elbow by Kendall inside the paint. He has returned, and reportedly with some stitches in the mouth. Gray calling for ball at the foul line. They swing it to Graves. Gray in tight, banks it in.
Does a great job of creating an opportunity with the target, and then does a good job not bringing the ball down, Gray.
Gray shooting 62%. Strong shooter, and he can step back and hit the 16-footer. Evendorf nearly threw that one away. Nichols on the drive with Ramon on his hip, lays it up. Strong move. Syracuse follows. Watkins can't get it to go on the dunk. And a whistle underneath with 10:50 to play in the second half. And Syracuse has fallen behind by 10.
Watch Gray come from behind the zone. He flashes, comes across, and then takes that up in one fluid motion. Does a nice job of getting his head around on his hook.
Watkins at the line, where he is vastly improved, by the way. Mookie Watkins, a 48% career foul shooter coming into this season. And he is up to 68% here in his senior year over the first 15 games. Looking much, much better at that line. Very unusual for a senior to improve that dramatically in his last year.
Characteristic of Jim Boeheim's players, they have all improved every year, and that's why I say he's a good coach. Because a mark of a good coach is your players improve on a consistent basis.
Now the national championship banner up there is another pretty good indicator. Here's Ramon. Not there for him. Gray battling for the rebound. Knocked it out to Devendorf. Here come the Orange. His pull-up pop is going to be too long.
And see, he doesn't get back, Devendorf. Look at him jogging back, no vision. And meanwhile, here comes Pitt running down for a layup.
Biggs trying to do just that. Tied up by Nichols. And the possession arrow will take it in the opposite direction.
He's not transitioned, Devendorf. He's playing backwards. He's concerned himself with the miss.
So Syracuse with possession, 10:16 to go.
It's imperative they have a good possession here with some touches and a good shot. I give McRoberts some credit. Come on back out.
Devendorf driving, laying it up and in. Certainly got the bucket on that possession, and he has 13.
Once he understands the defensive component is as important as the offensive one, he's got a chance to become a really good player.
And Pitt is forced to take a timeout. Now it's Syracuse on a 7-2 run to cut the lead to 6. Eric Devendorf on the attack moments ago.
Very astute. He sees that they're trying to get over the pick early. Change of pace, takes it away. Fields is left there in cement shoes. Nice layup. Now he hustles back. See him run back? He can't run back and not on a miss.
So we have a timeout. Let's take one as well as we go to Carl Ravitch with a Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Ravi?
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much. Big NFL news going on off the field. Art Shell, after 1 year out, is Raiders head coach. Looks like things did not go well, obviously, on the field, and Al Davis wants to make a change. Art Shell is out, and Bill Cowher was told he had a week to make up his mind. He drove back to North Carolina, apparently made up his mind as soon as he got there. He is expected to resign as the head coach on Friday. Spent some time with his family, a new home in North Carolina. More on SportsCenter, ESPN News, always on.
I predict Boeheim will have some kind of a trap here, particularly in the short corner area. There it is.
Just a little opening. Can't get the roll. Harris with the rebound. The freshman will take it himself. Immensely talented. Will he take over the game? Inside, it squirts away from him. He was well defended. Here's the hot hand. Fields got another one. He has 21.
He is feeling it. That is such an easy shot. That easy three rhythming up in transition.
The general, Levance Fields, shredding Syracuse here tonight on the Carrier Dome court. They do not have an answer for the sophomore from Brooklyn.
And meanwhile, they've played 4, if not 5 guys on Demetrius Nichols, and he is moving so hard to try to get it. Credit Pitt's defense. They're just playing. They're turning their back on the ball and playing Nichols.
Watkins with the flush. Rogers with the nifty give. So Syracuse hanging around.
It's almost a boxing one concept, Dave, the way they're taking Nichols out.
Less than 9 minutes to play. A 7-point game. Here's Harris jumping out with the theft, and he stuffs it down.
Here comes 5, 15, 20,000 Orangemen with that flush.
Well, the students on here, but you can hardly tell. Short timeout here for Dixon.
I wrote him off too early. I'll call my mistake.
And the fans here in the Dome are delighted that is the case. Harris lighting up this place.
The most athletic man on the court, and he actually got that deflection with his inside hand. Flushes it down. He sees that baby up with his eyes in anticipation.
You know, we talked about all of the things he has overcome, mistakes that he has made, playing through some very difficult times. In fact, he played the last 4 games of his high school state tournament in 2005 with a broken thumb on his shooting hand and led Niagara Falls to the state championship. That despite the busted thumb. College basketball continues on ESPN Saturday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. The Huskies taking on Glenn Davis and the LSU Tigers. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV on ESPN, also available in high definition. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern with College Game Day, driven by State Farm.
Pitt has a nice team temperament. If anything, they exude poise and composure. Particularly so playing 9 guys. Very difficult in a 9-man rotation to have those attributes.
Ramon off the head fake. Got it to go. A 2-pointer from the corner.
You've got to find him. You've got to favor him. He is without question the best outside shooter. I realize that Levance Fields is the hot shooter right now, but Ramon is the best shooter.
Routen's a line drive 3-pointer to answer for Syracuse.
It's going back to a shootout again.
Well, more drama between Syracuse and Pitt unfolding in the Dome here in upstate New York.
And Harris's defense, number 11, he's not used to playing in that baseline rotation.
Ramon with a miss. He's hitting 44% from 3, not this time. Big momentum swing for the Orange here all of a sudden. Diemendorf with the ball. He's been right in the middle of it. Gives off to Watkins.
Hosting Harris.
Shot clock at 10. The bounce right through the lane intended for Watkins. And on the turnover, can Graves save it? He cannot. Back over to Syracuse it goes.
Harris did a good job of getting back.
We have a timeout. Less than 7 minutes to go, and it may be right down to the final moments again between SU and Pitt.
More than 20 minutes away, Jeremy Hunt and company of Memphis averaging 13 a game, trying to extend their home court winning streak to 22 games, taking on what was a former conference rival, Cincinnati. And Drew Neitzel averaging just over 18 points a game. In the Big Ten, Michigan State and Iowa on ESPN2. College basketball continues. Should be a great finish from Syracuse, Dave.
Savvy, thank you so much. This one coming down the stretch, turning into a good one, 60-56. Pitt leading SU, and Levance Fields is the hero so far.
Let me do a little bit of everything. How about that steal and the anticipation that it entailed? And he puts it up using the rim to avoid the block shot. Good ball movement by the Panthers. He spots up, and then in transition here, Ramon makes a shot fake, draws two to him. It opens Fields with him and up as a trailer. He's just an opportunistic spot-up guy as well as a creator.
Averaging around 9 points per game, but up to 21 already, and that with about 7 minutes to go. This is season high for Fields. It's Nichols, who has only shot it 3 times in the second half after 9 attempts in the first half for the Orange. He gets it down low. Gray pinned it. Out of bounds off Pitt.
Beautiful feed there by Devendorf, and I love the way Watkins took it at him. You have no chance against a shot blocker unless you can get to his body and negate his jump and create some separation and space for yourself.
13 to shoot for Syracuse. Out high, it's Harris, the freshman. He goes hard right. He's held up and fouled on the deck with 6:26 to go. Well, the last time Syracuse faced Pittsburgh, it was a 65-61 victory for Jim Boeheim and the Orange in the Big East Tournament Championship. As the Orange, who had finished the season ranked 9th in the conference, played 4 scintillating games. And here's Routens on the topic of scintillating. Where Syracuse went all the way to the Big East Conference Championship, the tournament game, and won it. Went on to the NCAA tournament behind McNamara and a string of great performances. But now it's Syracuse on a 13-5 run in this one against the Panthers.
They're packing in there. They don't want that ball going inside to Graves at the high post.
Shot clock dwindling down to 5. Timeout. Pitt.
Excellent defensive possession by Harris. Deployment, ball pressure, and active hands.
Let's go back moments ago to Andy Routens. Of course, that's a big name in these parts. His dad was a huge star for Syracuse.
And don't tell me there's not something to that gene pool. Take a look at that. That's classic Leo Routens when he played. Now the coach of the Canadian national team and broadcaster for the Toronto Raptors. There's his dad right there.
Here's Leo, and Andy played for his dad this summer, as you mentioned, on the Canadian national team. They played an elite schedule of international competition in Europe, including against Dirk Nowitzki in Germany. And that experience has really matured Andy. Now, we talked about the Big East Championship last year. Syracuse becoming the first team in Big East history to win 4 games en route to the championship. Jerry McNamara named tournament MVP. What a run he had. Syracuse won its 2nd consecutive Big East tournament title. But remember, they were not going to the NCAA tournament before that. And Pitt continues to answer. One SU charge after another. It's Antonio Graves on the money to make it 63-58.
Beautiful execution of the special teams game, coming out on a side out of bounds play. They wanted to go to Graves, and he delivered.
Devendorf tries the lane, bounces it errantly right into the mix. Picked off by the Panthers. And Devendorf has given SU a great lift tonight offensively, but he's also made some silly mistakes with the basketball.
He had a little jump shot there. He didn't recognize it.
Fields.
Difficult to fault the guy for unselfishness.
Cook. Laid it up and he did get the roll indeed. What a play by Mike Cook in traffic.
That'll be on SportsCenter tonight. It won't make throw on Thursday, but I'll tell you what.
Devendorf pulls up his dribble. Here's Harris. Kendall came out to guard him. Harris stripped of it, lost it out of bounds off Pitt with 18 seconds on the shot clock.
They have done one great job on Demetrius Nichols. They are making him earn everything. They are denying him. They are turning their head on the ball.
Another look at Cook here on that finger roll.
I can finger roll.
Cook certainly can. Here's Robbins off the inbounds. Didn't touch anything. Here's Harris back inside. And Watkins got it to go now. The Pitt Panthers wanted interference on that.
It may have been, but it's not going to go back. That's not something that you can review.
Dixon very angry. It was not called. He thought Watkins was up and over that cylinder and touching it.
Here's why he plays 9 guys. He feels he's got his best 5 in the game right now.
A basket fouled before that by Harris on Kendall. Back to the Watkins tip-in moments ago.
Harris got caught looking at the ball, and then they just flash posted him. There's Watkins dunking that. Probably was a basket interference, but you're best to leave it alone at this point in the game.
Harris will come on out for just a moment. Roberts returning here. Terrence Roberts, who got socked in the mouth and had to leave for quite a long time as Kendall caught him with an elbow. Now Nichols being cautioned here a bit with 4:09 left. Pitt leading by 5. And the Panthers to check it in. We'll see if Roberts has any lingering effects from that elbow to the face. Ramon way outside. Roberts on him.
Kendall's a human screen. He does such a good job of moving to give his teammates shots.
Long arms too. Gray's pass is tipped and stolen away by Nievendorf. 11 turnovers for the Panthers tonight. Nievendorf trying to do it himself. Flips it up and in.
What a beautiful move. I love his change of pace on that. And I like the way he kept his eyes up on the rim.
Nievendorf with 15. Syracuse within 3.
He and Routens just touched hands as kind of a show of unity. Let's keep the ball out of the high post, they're saying.
Kendall bottled up on the baseline and fouled with 3:13 remaining. A foul on Roberts. A break here and back with more in a moment. Down the stretch.
Things aplenty in Memphis, not far from Graceland, but it's hoops. They're fired up about tonight. Longtime rival Cincinnati in town, led by freshman Deonta Vaughn. They'll battle Chris Douglas Roberts in high-scoring Memphis. That's coming up next. Now back to Dave and Rick in the Cuse.
65-62, number 10 Pitt with the lead here in the Big East opener with Syracuse. Some key plays now at the tail end. In fact, the very final seconds of the first half, it would be Mike Cook of the Pitt Panthers stripping Nievendorf here, and out in front he will lay it in just in front of the buzzer to guide Pitt into the locker room with the lead at the break. And now moments ago, Watkins, now was that interference? Did he goaltend on that? Stacey Dales, you were right there underneath the rim. What was your perspective on the play?
Well, Dave, first of all, you know I have perfect vision.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
From my view, just to the right back of the basket, that ball was over the cylinder. To me, that was interference on Watkins' part, but they let it go, guys.
Yep, got credit for the hoop. The crowd went wild. And so coming up on 3 minutes to play, it's a 3-point game. Fields has been the hot hand with 21. It's a career high for Levance Fields. Under 3 minutes to go. Here's Ramon. Open. Got it. That's a 3-pointer. He's been deadly.
They get it to the right guy. He's clearly their best shooter.
Now 4 out of 8 from the field. 68-62. And the crowd inside the dome over 21,000 quieted again. Routens trying to swing it to Watkins. Back to Routens. And now Watkins will pull up and shoot it. And that touched nothing. Just grazing the twine there. Out of bounds off of Pitt, however. 15 seconds to shoot it now for Syracuse.
Everything's coming hard for him.
Roberts will hand off to Nievendorf. Starts his move inside. But that left hand move has been tough.
Unbelievable. The body control, the acceleration, and then the way he can juke him in the lane and finish.
He is keeping the Orange alive here tonight on their home court in the Big East Conference opener.
And has taken over the one position exclusively. Watch Ramon run that baseline and hunt his shot.
He's way outside, up high. Shot clock at 6.
Ramon moving through that zone.
Graves. Devendorf may have partially blocked that. Out of bounds off of Syracuse, and they can't believe the call. Pitt gets the whistle.
And if he did a good job, because you want to get a hand up on a shooter. I applaud Devendorf.
Bayon wants a timeout, screaming for one. Over the din here inside the dome. Devendorf still arguing his point here. We'll get a look at the last play.
Here you see a long rebound. Karam's off. Oh.
Looked like it was clearly misdirected by Fields.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Fields got a piece of that. See how he tried to pull his hands back? As though not me. He had that caught in the cookie jar pullback.
Well, everything else is falling for him tonight, so the calls as Levance Fields is leading Pitt to a 68-64 lead. And while we have a moment, some big conference games coming up, obviously. We start with Saturday. Teams inside the Big East. UConn taking on LSU at 9 o'clock Eastern right here on ESPN. Then what should be a dandy Tuesday, West Virginia and Notre Dame, the two surprise teams in the conference at 7 o'clock Eastern.
No two players hotter than Carter from Notre Dame and Young from the Mountaineers.
1:37 left. Ramon Harris down high. Gets it away to Gray.
Jim Gamble's with a double team to disrupt them. Nice move. Pitt settles down, though. They exude poise and composure.
Ramon went for the bounce. Out of bounds off Nichols. Shot clock at 14. And 1:23 left. A spirited effort for Syracuse against the number 10 team in the country. But will it fall short here at the Carrier Dome?
Well, Fields is on fire. Ramon's the best shooter.
Here's Graves with an open look. In and out. Roberts with the rebound. Syracuse to attack. Devendorf's been the hot hand. Wants to drive again. Gives it up to Nichols. His shot. That won't go. He's had a cold second half.
And credit Pitt defense with that. Graves did a wonderful job there getting over and getting a hand up on him. Nichols hasn't got any easy looks, and they've played 4 and 5 guys through him. They keep fresh blood on him, and they do a great job of body bumping him out of position.
And Roberts committing his 4th foul. More pressure here by the Orange. Malone breaks it. A reach-in foul by Devendorf at midcourt. And time running out on the Orange here tonight. And for the Pitt Panthers, the opportunity to go to 13-2, but also grab a victory against one of their main rivals inside the Big East. Also get a little revenge from the Big East Tournament Championship tilt in Madison Square Garden that went to McNamara and the Orange last spring.
Each team with 1 timeout left, but Pitt has 2 fouls to give. They can extend pressure up court and take a couple of fouls here.
Ramon very cool at the line. 69-64.
Syracuse won't need a 3. They're better off to try to take a quick 2 because Pitt will have been well schooled and not to foul.
Ronald Ramon gets them both, opening up a 6-point lead.
The rule here is if you fall into a 3, you take it. You absolutely do not need it.
Devendorf jumps beyond the 3-point arc, left it short. Nichols will turn and fire his 3. That'll roll off. And with 40 seconds left, Pitt on the verge of icing this one tonight on an uncommonly warm evening here in Syracuse, New York. And you weren't thrilled with forcing those 3-point shots, were you?
No, but that was a good look. He got a good look. He had time and space, and he didn't have it contested that much. And he is a good 3-point shooter. So for him at that particular time, that's what I call falling into the 3. That was not a bad shot by Devendorf.
Well, Levance Fields going to the line here to work on a career-high 21 points, but his first foul shots. So he's done it all from the field until this point.
Pitt did this defensively, and Fields really stepped up on the offensive end to hit big shots. Credit Ronald Ramon with his patience and not forcing the ball, and they took Gray out of the game. They didn't think that Fields would be the guy with the poison dagger.
Well, Syracuse has been very good at the line tonight, and Pitt is just 6 out of 13 at the free throw line. After that miss, Fields jumping, trying to keep it in play. He deflected it. Broughton's finding Nichols, went up to shoot it. It spit out of his hands and out of bounds. Roberts is crying for a call to go his way, saying that was tipped by a Panther, but no one's answering. So 27 seconds left.
At this point here, you've got to foul immediately. It doesn't make any difference.
Ray got it away to Kendall, and no one there to foul him.
And he's the man you want to foul. There's the man you don't want to foul.
20 seconds left. Took 7 seconds for Syracuse to foul.
Great road win for Pitt in a difficult place. Puts them in good stead in the Big East. They did not play each other last year. They play each other this year. Or pardon me, they played each other last year 3 times. Let's not forget, we saw Syracuse where they got annihilated by DePaul right before they went on last year to win that Big East Conference tournament. I thought the Syracuse guys really stood up here tonight in lieu of injuries, defections, player transfer.
That's right. Matt Gorman, the 6'9" forward, sprained an ankle in practice yesterday. Lost for the night. Freshman Mike Jones announced his transfer yesterday for a long stretch of the second half. Terrence Roberts, the 6'9" forward, was out after taking an elbow shot to the mouth. Cincinnati and Memphis coming up next. More college basketball to follow on ESPN. Just 11 seconds to go, and Pitt has secured this one at the hands of the Orange inside the Carrier Dome in the 95th meeting between the two schools. Terrence Roberts picks up his 5th. And so Roberts, who had a tough night, will have to leave. A total of 6 points for him.
Roberts showed heart coming back out. He caught a tough one there. And when you get stitches in the lip, you can see how swollen his lip is. Harris grew up a little bit. He must learn from this situation.
Fields continues to add on to that career highs. Had a wonderful night. 73-64. Make it a 10-point game, and Fields was heart and soul of the offense for the Panthers in the second half. Diemendorf did everything he could to carry the Orange down the stretch. It was not enough. And so the Pitt Panthers, who opened up Big East Conference play, their very first game in the conference was 25 years ago. It was a loss here in Syracuse to SU by a total of 21 points. And tonight, it's Pitt in the win column at the expense of Syracuse, and another victory for Jamie Dixon. His Panthers now 13-2. Jim Boeheim's Orange fall to 11-4 on the season.
And credit a good job by both clubs. I especially like Pitt's defensive presence and their excellent defensive game plan. They were just not going to let Demetrius Stevens, keeping fresh players on him, make him dribble to every shot, not letting him get to a post position and deploying some help to him. He was played almost with a box-and-one concept within a man-to-man framework.
You know, really, Aaron Gray wasn't a huge factor. He wound up with a decent line, 9 points and 9 rebounds. But in the end, it was LaVance Fields who was the star, the big hero tonight for the Panthers, joined by Stacey Dales.
LaVance Fields, career high in this basketball game. Aaron Gray gets a lot of attention, and rightfully so, but you are the general of this team. What's the difference this year?
Like I said to you yesterday, man, we're together off the court, you know, and Aaron does create a lot of attention, so it was a lot of open shots for us. We felt we could get some in transition. I just knocked him down.
You guys played a very difficult non-conference schedule, losing on the road to Wisconsin and Oklahoma State. How did that help you in this game?
It built confidence for us. You know, we lost a tough one at Wisconsin, then we lost in double overtime to Oklahoma State. So I think it's going to definitely help us throughout the season in the Big East.
Congratulations, LaVance. Dave, we'll send it back to you.
Stace LaVance, thank you very much. 24 points for that young man. A career high on 9 for 15 shooting, and he also chipped in with 5 assists. 74-66 the final score. Nice win for Pitt. Coming up next, college basketball continues. It's Cincinnati taking on Memphis. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Stacey Dales and my partner, Coach Rick Majerus, I'm Dave O'Brien, saying good night from Syracuse. Now back